The change. I have no
We're
plan.
live.
Are we now? Nice.
Cool. So, because the last streaming was a little bit bad of frame rate, we are trying new things. So, expect some new stuff coming out. We're using some kind of Tencent meeting. We are as surprised as you are.
Yeah. Hopefully the quality is better.
Yeah. So, today we're gonna take a look at level design, which is a topic that not very few people talk about. Very important. You usually don't find any of the books like in a way that you can actually design some things and actually apply some principles there. So we will go straight into Unreal. So let me share my screen. All right. So there it is. So the last streaming we create a small first person shooter. So if I hit play, I have this. I can shoot many times and I can spawn my projectile. So what we're gonna do now is basically have a um, like a level for this because there's some things here that we need to we need to consider. Uh, First, when we create our game, the the first thing that we need to consider is the gameplay. So I check the gameplay here. So the gameplay have many different things. Okay, so our level design will depend on the gameplay. So different gameplays allow for different kinds of level design. For example, if you are creating a fighting game, then you have two people here fighting, right? So your level design is basically a flat plane, and that's it. Although it's in some fighting games, they can destroy some things or whatnot, but you get the idea. Like it's literally nothing. And that's fine because the gameplay supports this kind of level design. It's fun enough so that even if you put a plane, then that's fine. And actually, if you put some obstacles and some kind of elevation, then the fighting game will turn something into like Super Smash Bros. Maybe, which is a totally different feeling. So moving on, you have other things. For example, you can have your platformer. And like if you play your platformer, you can have something like this, something like that. And then your character will need to be able to jump here in order to support this level design. And also he's able to die if he falls down. Like in this fighting game, you cannot die if you fall. You only die when the only guy hits you enough times, right? So here your gameplay must have the option to jump in order to support some level design. And also maybe some option to die and some other things. So the level design always depends on the gameplay. For example, how high your platform is, it depends on the gameplay. If it's too short, then you can jump. If it's too long, maybe you cannot reach there. But if you're like Mega Man, you can jump like this, then your level design may support this kind of behavior. So it always depends on the gameplay. And last, you have like open worlds kind of level design where the player is in a really big sandbox, and you have like here you have one area, let's just call area 1 and then area 2, and the player has inside area 1 you have small little areas. So normally for this kind of things, it's mostly about going from one objective here to another one, to another one, until you finish the game. So always the level design will depend on the gameplay. Okay, so let me clear this. So what we have here, if we analyze our gameplay, we can shoot, we can jump, we cannot run, and we can crouch. So we're gonna create something that makes this thing a little bit more interesting. So let me go to my new level here, and I will choose a time of day. And the next thing I need to do is to just select these two and just delete. And then delete this one, and let me create like a bigger floor. Okay. By the way, how is the streaming? Has a chance that it's lagging.
It lags a little bit when the movement is too fast, but
Okay.
at least the text is sharper, so that's a plus.
Okay, a little improvement. So, if we play here, we'll have our game. And you notice that it's not fun, right? You can have your gun. It's fun to shoot, but there's not many things to play with. So the first thing I want to do is to create some obstacles. So I will go to create shapes, and I will put a cube here. And I put something like this. Okay. And what I want to show you here is the importance of metrics. So if I play here, so now I have some collisions here which make it more interesting and so on. But we have a problem here. The player is confused about whether he can or cannot go through this obstacle. And there are several ways to fix this. But if I check this, like I can check this height here. And let's just say this is 10 centimeters, okay? So depending on my gameplay, in my case, I cannot go down. So you will have some metrics. For example, if this is your player and you have like an obstacle here, this height should be high enough to make sure you can jump like this. In other cases, like when this wall is too tall, then for sure the player will know that cannot go through here, cannot jump. This is too tall. And the problem is between these two, when it's not too tall and not too short. So the player will get confused. It's like, is this something I can go through and actually pass, or is this a wall where I cannot go through? So this is the same thing that is happening here. So here we have this part here has some height. if we want to make sure that the player knows that this is something that you can go through, we should make this higher to something like this. So there wouldn't be any difference. We can either do that, or we can get this down here to the ground so that the player knows that he can go through here, no problem. Or we can block this path. So we will check the options here in Unreal. Okay. So if I go here, if I move this up just like this, and I play again, now this is very obvious that I can go through, right? There is no misunderstanding. The player will go here and, oh, no problem, I can go here. That's fine. We can also do something like this where we can put it down. Maybe like this. So when we play here, we can just go through. It's short enough so that the player doesn't get confused that you can, like, this shouldn't stop you, okay? So before we had this, and this is a problem, right? So what happens if you have this and you cannot actually move this? Like, it's like this is part of your level, this needs to be here. How can you solve this? Well, you can create some blockers here to make sure that the player knows that they actually cannot go through this place. Maybe some boxes here, like this. So now when the player comes here, it's very easy for me to know that I cannot go through this area. Okay? That's the first thing. This is called metrics. The metrics are what makes your game feel comfortable. It doesn't necessarily is this is, you know, the thing you use to don't have bugs, because a bug is also something that you confuse the player and you make the player feel frustrated. So this is a $1 million tip that you can get when you're making your games. Like, make the player feel comfortable. It's your number one priority. Not make it look pretty, not make it like look great or whatever. It's just make it feel comfortable. And we will go through these principles little by little. Okay? I'm just wondering if there is any way I can just reduce this one.
Yes, I was gonna tell you about it.
Yeah, it's like a bug. We cannot. Let's check. Maybe we can go to the chat. Anyway, I think we will have to live with this. Okay.
Let's move forward.
Okay. So what we're gonna do is to create some level design for us. So let's create here the modeling tools, which you cannot see because I have them here. So if I go here and click modeling tools, you need to have the modeling tools editor mode. So once you have this enabled, you need to restart if this is the first time you do it, and you will have the option here. Okay. So let me stop sharing first if this helps. Share screen. Okay, better. So what we want to do is to have a place for a player to start with. Because when we create a level, it's very easy for us to fall into the trap that we need to plan everything. And let's go here again. So you have some options to do this kind of thing. You can either do a top layout and have a rough idea of what you want to create. For example, the player starts here and then has two paths, and then you have your paths here, and then go to the same path, and then go to the final boss, something like that. And you can do it on paper and then translate it into Unreal by modeling some things. But to be honest, almost most of the time, I think 99% of the time, when you put your ideas from paper into the game, you will have to change it. So instead, I prefer the approach of just doing it in Unreal. So how are we going to do it? We're going to drop some meshes. And there are some ways to do this. If we create a shape here, we can create a cube. Okay. Just like that. And then we will create another cube here, click play, and there you have it. And now we will, let's put the snapping here. We will put another one here. And now we have a starting point. Like, you cannot go there. There's only one way. It's a start. So the first thing you want to do is to play your game and have a sense of how the game is just flowing. So right now I feel a little bit paranoid because these walls are too, the distance is too short between one another. So this one feels much better. Okay, so you start like this, and what you want to do is to actually create some interesting things. So what if you can actually duplicate this and, you know, create some paths like this and then play. Okay, and then you have something. But for us, a good way to draw and have like a top-down view of this is by actually drawing like if it was 2D. So if we go here, we can actually draw in our extrude options, we can draw different paths, and this will snap to the grid. Okay, so I can go here and actually create a path, like create a small wall here. And then I can extrude the height by moving the mouse and click OK and complete. And once I have that, I have something. So if I click here, I click play, then now I have my new wall and it's a new mesh and it's working. Okay. So we can either duplicate this and we could check. Okay. This could work. So let's do something like this. And what I want to do is to actually move this wall so I can have a corridor here. So I go to my poly editor. So this is my polygroups. These polygroups are for each face in this case, and I can move this. And look what happens here when I move this is when I click accept, this one also changes because this one is actually a static mesh that we are using. And this one is the instance of that. So we are going to go back, and there are some ways to duplicate this object. We can either find it here, we can like duplicate it, move it here, put it in the same position, and then when we modify this one, we will get a new one. But I prefer to use the modeling tools to use the duplicate option here in create, where I will just click this, and then I will put delete sources, will delete my new mesh, my previous mesh, sorry. And then I will put a new name here and I will click accept. And looks like nothing has happened. And the reason is we haven't changed anything. So now we can go into our poly editor mode and we can actually move this and we can go through along the normals. If I click here and drag and click accept, now this one is changing and not this one. So let's take a look at some principles while we are here. So first, I feel like this one is too short from distance. So when I play here, it takes me like 1, 2, 3 seconds to go left. So I don't want that. Let's move this one by actually selecting all my points here. Can move this one here and actually move this one just like this. Okay. Can move these points too. Just like that. So let's take a look at how it looks like. Okay, this feels much better. So the next thing I'm gonna do is to move this one here. And this part we're gonna move here to have something like that. And we're gonna grab these vertices and we're gonna move here. Just like that. Okay. So when we play this game, it's like, okay, we have something, we have our walls, we can move. But it's a little bit boring. And the reason it's a little bit boring, it's because we don't have any verticality in our game. So what I mean by that is if I have a game like this, let's just say this is my player and this is my ground and this is my goal. So the player can go this direction and we don't want that because it's a little boring. The way you can fix this is just you have your player here and you have your path, but you have a small little elevation here. And then you have your goal. Now, this one is much more fun than this one. This is what you want always. So a rule is whenever the player needs to walk a lot, we need to break this. And the way we break it is by adding elevation. It can be by going up or it can be by going down. But we must stop the player for walking for very long distances. Okay, this is one of the rules you need to keep in mind. So how are we going to apply this? Okay, let me clear. The way we're going to apply this is by actually modeling some elevations here. And I'm going to do this by using my box shape. I'm going to drag this and I'm going to put it here. And next, I'm going to poly edit, and I'm gonna move the faces here. Just like that. And I'm going to put something like this. Okay, so now this is more interesting. I can go to the right, but what I want to do actually is to go up. So what I'm gonna do is to select this one, move it here, maybe move this one a little bit like this. I'm going to select this one and click extrude. And then when I drag the mouse, I can extrude the face. Then I click here, accept. And then what I'm gonna do is to poly edit again. And this time I will grab one edge. And then what I just need to do is to grab something like this, just like that. Okay. And we will see if the elevation is too high or not. But if we go here, can actually go here. And this is much more fun than actually going only to the right. Okay. There's another thing I want to do. I want to extend this wall. So I'm going to choose these vertices. And you see that as you modify your level, you're actually modifying other parts that you need to fix little by little. Is as you create, you can modify things around. Okay. So what do I need to do next? So I made my level a little bit more interesting by adding some elevations. What I want to do is to give the player the choice that he can go through different directions so that he can either go through this area or go to this area. This will be our main area, and this will be our secondary area. Okay. What's the difference between the main area and the secondary area is that we want to make sure that the player most of the time chooses this path. Okay. And the secondary area is just an optional thing to do. Okay. So the way we're going to do this is that we are going to create an entrance here. And we're going to do it very easy. I'm going to grab a box here. Okay. I'm going to put it here. And what I will do is to extrude this. If you remember BSP brushes, you can actually have additive and subtractive elements. And what I can do is to move this one here, something like this. And then I will click on this one, which is my wall. The next thing I'm going to do is to click on this one, which is the object I want to cut through. And then I'm going to click Boolean. And as you can see, I have my Boolean is working. Can actually move it up or down. I can scale it if I want. And let's just say I want something like this. Okay. So let me click accept. So what is the problem with this one? If we hit play, the player can already see here that there is a path here going on. So there is no surprise actually. Like if you go through, you want to give the player some rewards as he continues to play. So if I go to this path, I don't want to ruin the surprise, right? I want to make sure that he discovers new things as he plays the game. So what I'm going to do is to actually move this one a little bit to the left so that the player actually discovers this hole when it's in this place and not here. Otherwise, we ruin the surprise, and it's not very fun to do that. So how are we going to do it? We can either go back here and redo the Boolean, or we can move the vertices. I choose to remove the Boolean. So let me check from this camera, and I will try to just move this one here. And let me see how my camera looks here. Maybe like this, okay? So I will put it just like that. And what we're gonna do is to select this one, then select this one, click Boolean, and now let's make sure that I cannot see my entrance. I can actually move this one here so that I can see on real time what's going on. I can continue to move this one, and when I get here, I see that I have something, okay? So I will click accept, and let's play our game again. So we can go this place, and boom, there is a new entrance here, okay? That's one thing. Let's check how it feels when we play here. We can go up, and whoa, we see that from up, when going up, we have some elevation. We can actually see the entrance here. That's something nice. We want to keep that, okay? Now, let's check if our gameplay doesn't feel too long. If you go here, like, it's okay, but this one feels a little bit too boring. So the way we're gonna fix it is just to put some obstacle here. I'm just gonna grab a box, just like that, and I'm gonna put it like this. And now I can go this direction or this direction, and this is a little bit more fun than just an empty space. Okay, great. Now, what we need to do is to actually create a main path. So I will grab this one, I will click the poly edit, and I will drag this one like this. Okay, just like that. And I will drag also this one, and I will put it here. Okay, and also I will make this floor a little bit bigger. So before going to the secondary paths, what we want to do is to actually what we want to do is to actually create a main path here so that we know when to create our secondary path. And we're going to do that very easy. We're going to create a path extrude. And what you want to do is to, or maybe we can use this one. Okay. And we can create a circle with a hole. This is nice. So if I drag this like this, I can drag a circle with a hole, and then I can move it up. Okay, but this is not what I really want. I can actually make it interactive, like I can check the inner radius. But what I want to do is to actually draw the path. So I'm going to do that like this. Gonna draw my path like this. And this is a big area. This is like the final room. Then I will click here. And then interactively, I'm moving the mouse, and you can check here that I'm creating a wall. Okay. So if I click here and then go up, I can create a wall here. Okay. Now we have our wall. Now we need to make the floor a little bit bigger. Now let's play our game. So if I go here, I can go here. Let's not worry about this thing for now. And we can then go to this one. Okay, looks nice. Feels a little bit narrow for my taste. So what I'm gonna do is to move this once by using the poly edit. just like that. And then we're gonna move this one like this, just like that. Okay, now it feels a little bit bigger. Now let's check this one, how it looks like. Let's not worry about this thing for now. Okay, now what you wanna do is to actually check the height of this one, if this is something you want to keep. Otherwise, you can go to the poly edit and go here and select this one and just move it up. Okay. And this one actually has some issues. I moved the wrong I moved the wrong face here. But it's okay. Let's just leave it like that for now. Okay. So let's play our game again. You can see our path, and then we have our main path. Okay. This feels a little bit shorter now, so I'm gonna move this one like this. Okay. So I'm gonna open a hole here so that I have an entrance for my main path. Very easy. I'm just gonna drag a box, rotate it, make it like this. And we can actually exaggerate the entrance by making it bigger than the other one. So if we click this one and then click this one, then we can create a Boolean here. Okay, and now we have our entrance. We can always move this one. Notice that if I go too much, I will close the hole. So make sure it's open. Let me see if my annotations will help me to remove this Tencent meeting here. Clear. What is this? Oh, actually we have an arrow. Great. Okay. Okay. Let's just live with that for now. Yep. Doesn't want to close.
Yeah, it wants its free promotion.
Yeah. Okay. Understandable. So what we want to do next is you want to create an alternative path. So this time we will go here where we will do something like this. Okay. And let's create this path. It should be pretty easy. I can actually leave it like this, and I can use my check this move. Then I can move this one like this. I can add some thickness, and then I can go up. All right. Let's clear this. Great. So what I want to do now is to actually move this thing again. I'm holding shift and clicking on the polygon so that I can actually move them. And actually I'm gonna shift click those two. Okay. We will move it like this. To open the space here a little bit, we're gonna select this one and move it here. And also this one. And here we are actually going to Just move it like this. Okay. So now we have our alternative path, and of course we need to make a hole here, and we can either just, you can delete these faces, and that will solve the problem for now. Okay, and we can move this one just a little bit, and then this one we can move down. Okay, so let's play our game. Right click, play from here. Okay, I start here. Beautiful. I have my obstacle. I can go up, and then I have this face here. Actually, this looks pretty bad. So now we have another path here, and this is our alternative path. So let's fix this one first. Let's go to our modeling tools and just grab this one. And move it here, just like that. Okay, that should be enough. So there are some things that we need to do here. We're gonna create a hole here, but this time we're going to create it up. So we're gonna put a box here. And let's say this is our first person shooter and we want to have a flanking point in the top. Just like that. So we're gonna create something like this. And we're gonna open this. Click this one, Boolean, down. Okay. So now we need to do some things here. I can actually copy this one and move it here to have some variation. And I can start from here. And what I can do is duplicate this one so I don't modify the original. And I can move this one just like this. And I can keep extruding and rotating until I create my own path. Just like this. And then what I need to do is to, maybe what we can do is to do a loop insert, and we're gonna create a loop like this. But first, we're going to play here. And probably this is too long. Okay, so we may need to either make it a little bit more interesting, or we can make this path shorter. So how we can make it more interesting? Very easy. We can actually just go here. And then, actually we don't need this. We can actually use a box here. And we can have some kind of obstacle. So if we play from here, now we can jump. And this will make the trip a little bit more pleasant. Like, you don't feel like it's that long. It's like you're doing a trip with your car to another country and you have nothing else to do. Then you're just waiting and waiting. But if you have something else to do, then the distance is the same, but at least you're distracted a little bit, so you don't feel it that long. Okay, So what I'm gonna do is to keep extruding this one, just like this. And I'm going to add another loop here. And I'm going to move this one. So I'm going to extrude. And this time I'm going to go up so that I can make sure I can go here. Next, I'm going to extrude again. Let's rotate it. Let's move it here. And let's extrude. Just like that. Let's move it a little bit. Now we need to go up again. So let's extrude one more time. This time is the final one. We go up like this. And now we have enough height to go here. So let's extrude again. And we will put it like this. And another extrude here. And we will move the face here. All right, let's try it out. Maybe it's too long, but let's see. You go here, you jump so that you forget this is too long. Oh, you see there is another entrance here. Great. And now from here, you can shoot your enemies. It's a little bit of a trade-off because this distance is longer. So if you go this way, then you have the advantage you can shoot from the top. But if you go that way, you can come easier to the main point. Let's just say if you're playing Overwatch, this is the main objective, you want to capture the point. You want to go fast, but you also want to have some teammates to go to the flank. But it will have some trade-off.
Really cool. And makes a lot of sense, because if you don't get in time, then the advantage is lost.
This. And it's all about playing your game. So when you play your game, you will realize some things don't work as expected. There is not a right or wrong thing to do here. It's just, it's things could have done differently. And it's not like math, like you have to do this way. We use the principles to try to solve the, let's say, the most common problems of level design. Most of these problems, if you play a lot of games, you actually know them deep inside yourself, like in your subconscious mind. You already know this. But once you translate these thoughts into words, then it becomes much easier to actually apply those principles and see what's wrong. Otherwise, you will have the instinct, and your instinct is right that it's wrong, something feels off, but you won't know how to fix it. Okay, so we have a problem here. So we have our main path. This is our main path. Go here. Let's do it again. More. Actually, let's justify the existence of this thing. This is our main path here. And now we have another path here. Here. And you can go this way. There is a problem with this. And the problem is that this area, let's just say, oh, I'm gonna flank the enemy. And then you decide, you know what? I'm going to return. So you have to go all this way just because you changed your mind. And remember that our first principle, like the $1,000,000 rule, is that making the player comfortable is the first priority. If the player is not comfortable, then he will get frustrated he will close the game, he will go play some other games. You don't want that. So the way you make them feel comfortable is to give them the choice to go back. So what we can actually do is to create a path here, a shortcut, so that if you decide, okay, I'm here already, but you know what? I want to come back. You can actually use this path so that you can come back here again. So it's not that punishing. So by rule, you want to avoid this kind of level design where you have one path and one path, and then you need to come back just because you decide to come back, and you need to go all the way down. Even in war situation, if this doesn't lead to anywhere, that's a problem. You always want to lead somewhere to the player. Otherwise, it's like, why you told me to go here? This is so frustrating. There's nothing here, not even a treasure chest or something. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do now. And it will be very easy. We just need to create a door for it. And you guess it, we're gonna use the booleans. So we're gonna go here to our box. And then do it like this. Okay, just like that. Click this one first, then click the box, click on boolean. And now I have my other mesh. But actually, I'm going to move this one up a little bit so that I don't have any C clipping. Boolean. Okay. Can actually move it if you don't want. Could move it here if we want. So we can have some options. Or we can move it here. Both are okay. There is no right or wrong thing for this. We can create another one here. And we can create another boolean. It's like this. Click this one, boolean. Okay, great. So now what you have here, if we play our game, so now we have our two paths actually and our main path. And it's like, oh, super curious. Like if you go here, okay, this path is too big. We need to get rid of this. You can jump here. You can go here. All good. You can flank your enemies here. And now if I want to come back, I can just go through this door. And then I'm here, just when I start. Okay. Now, if I want to make this a little bit more comfortable, I could make this one shorter so that the player doesn't need to go back all over again to move here. Because if I choose to go this path, I will realize, okay, there is something here and I can see a door, but actually I need to go all this way. We don't want that. Okay. So, or we can create some kind of elevator here to make it a little bit more comfortable. All right. Now, let's apply some other principles here. Let me drink some water first. Okay, so we have our main layout. And let's just say it's working. We can make some tweaks here and there. Um, we need a way to make sure that the player knows that this is the main objective. You must go this way. You can go other ways if you want, but you must go this way. And when you decorate your environments, the first thing you need to consider is that your job, if you're the artist and you are decorating your environments, then it's not to make things pretty. Although that's some part of the job, the main thing, the pillar that supports all the game, is to guide one player from one objective to the next one. And this is very, very important. You must guide the player from one objective to the next one. Otherwise, the player will get lost. And it has happened to us before. I don't know if it happened to you, but to me, when I was creating, working on a VR game, it was one of my first experiences of creating a game. And we designed the level, not like this, of course, otherwise problems wouldn't have arisen. But we designed the level, and when we play the game, it's like um, we know everything. Where is it? We know all the paths where you need to go, and we played, and it's brilliant. It's like, this is great. And then we give the controller to someone else entirely new, and we just get so frustrated just from watching that person not knowing where to go. It's like, should I go here? Should I go to the left, to the right? What else do I need to do? Right? And I will get so frustrated. It's like, in my mind, it's like, this was so obvious. Like, you need to go this way, but they don't know. And to be honest, it was my fault because I only decorate the level so that only me and my team understands the level. The rest, it doesn't matter. And this is why it's so important to apply these principles. So remember, and I say it again because this is the most important part of level design. The objective is to guide from the objective of your job. Let's say the most important part is to guide one player from one objective to the next. Okay?
Yeah, it's really easy to get blinded by your own design and thinking that it's the obvious way to go, but then testing does a lot of help to like remove those glasses of, no, it's really easy, but once you see one person not get it and two, and then there are a lot of persons that don't get the design, then you really know that you have a problem.
Yeah, it's very, very frustrating. And I'm sure I'm not the only ones. And these kind of issues are easily solved by applying the principles I have shown you here. So we talk about the objective, and what we need to have is a main objective here. This is the most important path. And there are some ways to show the objective. In my case, I will create a big cone here, just like this. And I will put it like this. I will make it super big. Okay. So now, when I'm from here, I can actually see a different shape. And this is what you want. You want to have different shapes for different types of objective. And each shape will represent a different element. In my case, most of the things here are square. Okay. So the moment I put a triangle here, like if I put a square here, a square here, a square here, this is full of squares. And suddenly I put a triangle, you instantly look at the triangle. And the reason is the shape is different. So you want your main objective to have a different shape from the rest. And it doesn't necessarily need to be a triangle. You know, it's like when you create like your level, maybe it's a tree that looks like this, an inverted triangle, right? Something like this. Uh, you don't need to really follow this rule, but as long as it stands more than enough than the rest, then you are good to go. Okay. So before continue, any question?
Oh, right on time. Yeah, there's a question. Dennis says, hello, I was wondering if you take inspiration from real life historical architects like Boban when designing fortresses and dungeons.
Oh, definitely. Actually, Baoban was one of the so uh when I was working I was working in some fortress for Ubisoft. So uh, of course, Ubisoft game are very historically accurate. So I was working on some forts, and the only way we can design a fort is to actually take a look at the reference. And one of the best ways to get that reference is that I actually grab a book from Vauban itself. For those who doesn't know, Vauban is like it's a French uh, architect, engineer, uh, military dude from the I guess it was like 16th, 17th century. I can't recall. He was the guy who designed the fortress. But like you know, you go from the castle to actually the fortress, and he designed the bastion. So in that book, you have a lot of layouts, extremely interesting designs that you just actually put them and they work. It's like you don't need to think too much. You just grab the book and you create a design and you put it there and it works. So uh, if you have a book or you have some other references, for sure you can get inspired by that and use it as a starting point. Because you know, even if it looks great on the book and you grab the layout that Baoban designed, you put it in the game, then there are a lot of rules like can the player shoot here? Can the player actually know where is the objective? Why is this so complicated? Like in real life, some things works, and when you put it in game, sometimes you need to simplify. And this is part of the job actually, to simplify everything that you find in real life. It's like nature give you all the tools. It's like you play the piano and you buy the best piano ever, but that doesn't mean you will play well. So exactly, it's like nature. Nature will give you all the all the tools and the inspiration you want, but it's your job as the designer to actually be creative with those elements that you find in the real world and then use them to your advantage instead of just copying. And of course, anything that you put in the level must follow the gameplay, which is the first thing we cover uh, at the start of this video. The gameplay always is king. The level design always follows the gameplay.
Great. Uh, there's another question. Maybe you want to take it before. entering in the
Okay,
level design
sure.
zone. Um, it says, Reese, what are your recommendations for puzzle design?
Hmm. I don't know. I always been a terrible puzzle designer. Not really my thing. But if you are, I guess you play a lot of puzzle design games. That's where you get your inspiration from. Games like Trine or Portal give you a lot of ideas. Many other games are actually put a lot of puzzles. For example, Tomb Raider is a good example of puzzle design, but doesn't really look like a puzzle, but it is. And you just get ideas from those designs. And I'm not really an expert to talk about puzzle design theory, actually. But I will just advise you to play those games and think about these principles. I mean, all these principles I didn't learn in the book. I learned by actually thinking and just have some time with myself and think why we are doing this way. Why are we applying these things? For example, in the job when we're creating a game, it's like, yo, you need to apply verticality. And it's like, why? And then basically you come up with these principles that you can use it on your own work, but you need to think about. So then next time you play a game, let's say you play Trine or Tomb Raider, think about what they did. And if I remember correctly, it's just basically the same principles. Objective is very clear. You can see the objective, where to go, and you can guide the player from one objective to another by putting some obstacles between those. And those obstacles can be different from one another depending on the type of game you have. But I guess just puzzles which just make you think a little bit more.
Yeah, I believe in regardless of what you want to learn. In this case, is puzzle design. It's a good way to start is just to make it, and if you don't know where to start, it's better to copy something that works. Like you say, like Portal, or maybe you want to make a game, a puzzle game. I don't know, point and click stuff. Then it's easier to copy exactly the puzzle that really uh, got you like the most interesting one, and just copy and paste it. Then you can easily know how it meshes, how it combines with your game, and it probably won't work because you're copying a design from another game, but it's really a good starting point just to start make you thinking why it works or what were the decisions behind it. And yeah, that's what I do with code. Whenever I do not know some part of a programming language, it's easier to copy a program and then modify it and break it and know why it's working. So that helps a lot. um,
Totally. That applies for a lot of things. Like it's like you're watching a painting. It's great if you analyze it, but as when you copy it exactly the same, then you learn like how they did it. Just copy. Don't invent some new things. By
yeah,
copying, you learn a lot.
yeah, and you can get away with it most of the time because you end up giving it your own take, and it stops being a copying. There also was how to design an open world, another question.
Uh, okay. Um, I can tell you how you can work in open worlds. Okay. Um, this uh, this is my experience from working in open worlds. So uh, usually um, you have a big world here. It's like that. Okay. And you start like this. You divide your world into grids, like different areas. Let's just put it like this, like 4x4. And you design the world independently from one another. And inside here, you have different designs. And here you have another, here you have another, here you have another. And this is why world partition, if I check this one, world partition, I don't have it here in this project, but you can actually see the grid and you can tell people, okay, you have a team of people. You have 2 people working here. You have 3 people working here, 5 people working here, and I don't know, 1-man army working here. And what you will do is to actually design a focal point. So let me clear this. You can actually what you actually have is your player here. There is always a focal point. Let's just say, usually it's a castle, right? There can be many focal points, which we call point of interest. Let's you say in The Witcher, or if you play Assassin's Creed, there are many different points of interest. There is the castle. It can also be another castle too, right? And you know that there's something here, right? This can be like another explaining all the secrets behind designing open worlds. It's can be a whole new streaming, but you will have elements here. For example, you can have flags, and the flags tell the player that this is actually hostile territory. You can also have some places where, for example, you have houses or tents, right? Where the player can buy things. You place those elements in the world, and then you create a path to go to these places. Okay. It's very free in the sense that there is no right or wrong way to do it. You can go this way or you can go this way. It doesn't matter. There is no right or wrong way to do it. But what you will do is to have different points of interest in your environment. So I will say that an open world is designed by the core mechanics first. What are the core elements of the open world? We will have castles. What can the player do there? Can they raid? If we have houses, can they destroy the houses like the last Assassin's Creed Valhalla? Okay, so all these elements are created first, and then you place them in the world and have fun by playing the game. By the way, open worlds are extremely hard to make in the sense that you need a lot of people and it just takes time. The size matters here, where you need to put more elements, more assets. And if you don't want to do it manually, you need a lot of tech behind it, like Houdini and some procedural stuff to save a lot of time. But I guess we could do an open world for another session to show the principles. I think that will be very fun.
Sounds good. Sounds great.
Okay. So let's continue. If there are any questions, just feel free to put it. But let's go with the flow now. So the other thing I want to do is to actually make things more clear here. Now that I have my basic layout, it's very easy for me to grab some meshes here. Let's just go to our megascans folder. We can just grab some meshes here, put it like this, you know, something like that, and we lose track. So we want to be very clear at the beginning. What we're gonna do is to create some materials, one for the ground and one for the walls. And this kind of principle you see a lot in platformers, where the player is here and the ground you say the ground is like this, you know the ground, you can walk because it's green. And if you have like a platformer here and you have another wall, and maybe the wall is always like this. So you can clearly see where are the vertical elements and the horizontal elements. And this is what you want to have. So we're going to apply the same principle here. We have our guy here and we need our floor. So we're gonna grab one of those starter content, click here and check material. Oh, not this one. Reset filters, click here, material instance. Let's remove this one. Okay, and what we're gonna do is to go to our starter content, materials. Okay, these are not material instance. So what we wanna do is to create a floor material. Let's grab one of those to check how it looks like. Let's decide which one will work best for us. And I like this one. Personally, I like this one. So if you want to change the UVs, it's very easy. With the modeling tools enable, you can just go to UVs, layout, and instead of repack here, you will click on transform, and then you can change the scale like this. Also, if you have a different material, you can actually check the checkerboard to check the density of your UVs. So you can see if it's, good enough or bad. So for me, this is good enough. And this covers the whole floor. Let's check our walls. How about these ones? Could work. Okay. So let's change the UVs. Very easy. Let's go to our layout and we do the transform. We can do something like this. Or we can check the checkerboard. We can put 6 and have our mesh like this. We can actually see our UVs here. Okay. And we can do the same here. Layout. And here, let's put it here. Okay. Layout. And actually, what I'm going to do is to do a project. I'm going to put a cube and I'm going to put the checkerboard. And with this, I can change the axis to actually modify the UVs and just make sure that it's a square. Just like that. You want the UVs to be a square. Okay, click accept. And what I want to do here is actually apply this material into my mesh, just like this. Okay, I'm going to save it. And there is a problem here on level design. We have a material that looks like it's a wall, but it's not. And if you remember, when we played before, this was very clear. I can go here for sure. But now I'm confused because this material is the same as this material. So let's gonna change this. We don't need to go to Blender or 3D Studio Max to change the materials. We can do everything inside Unreal now. We can go Material Editor, and you will see I have my list of materials here. I'm gonna add another one. Okay, I'm gonna choose my ground floor here. I'm gonna drag it here. Then what I need to do is to select the index. This is index 0 and index 1. I'm gonna select the index 1. And then I'm gonna select the faces that actually need this. So if I click here, I will select the faces that need this material. And I will go and click assign. And know that assign doesn't work with the click. It works with the number we have selected. So if we click assign, now we have our ground. And now it's much more clear that you actually need to go. You can actually walk here. Okay. So that's one thing. And we can continue to do the same. and actually change the material if we want. Let's see if we find something a little bit. I don't know, looks just a little bit different. Probably this one. Okay, much better, at least for my taste. So you want to apply this material to all of your meshes. We can keep doing that until we finish our level, and we can do the UVs here. If you want to do the UVs, you can project, and this time we can use the cylinder, and you can change this one, something like this. Or if this doesn't work, you can actually use the layout and transform. Looks fairly okay. And let's do the transform again. Oh, oops. Looks like our UVs will be gigantic. Crashing, incoming.
Oh no.
Okay, I click cancel. Okay, crashing, incoming again because I was dumb enough to put Control Z.
No.
Anyway. I can't help myself.
Yeah.
Let's just put 2.
You just got away
Okay,
with something and then took a
yeah,
risk again.
okay. So let's forget about this part. I fuck it up. Okay, so what we can do here actually for our main objective is to make it stand out. So what better way to put the disco theme here? All right. And because we have lumen enabled, we actually see global illumination going around here, which is great. We have the emissive and we have the lights. So now we have something much better. Very cool stuff. Okay, this is one of the principles. You want to design which areas are walkable and which areas are not. And this has to be extremely clear. Like, I think I can open the project I've been doing. Let's see if I can open the project here. Save. Let's check here.
Oh, I can ask you a question from the stream while you open
Oh,
it.
okay.
It says, actually, I'm a solo developer. I wanted to design a small but high quality AAA game. How much Megascans assets will be helpful designing?
That's a tricky question, you know. Okay, let me read the question. So, the first thing, if you're doing the game alone, then you want to save as much time as possible. And modeling takes time. So you want to use as many as megascans as possible as you can. And how many you need? You can use a lot and you can use very little. I recommend using a little. For example, here I'm using only 2 meshes or 3 to make the whole game. And this is 1. This is not megascans, but this is 1, 2. And you can see I have here my levels. So what I did here is to let me answer the question before going into the level design. principle I was about to show you. Use as little as possible. Here I have 1, 2, I believe 10, no more than 10 megascans I'm using in this area. And it's the way you put them, you duplicate them, you try to make something out of with what you have. Use as little as possible and try to make the most out of it. This is how you will finish the game faster. Okay, so if you see here, if I check my colors, you can see that this area has a different color from this one. And this was on purpose. This is still work in progress and it can be done better, but this area has a different color than this one. And the reason is this is my main path. This is my main objective. I want the player to know he can walk here. And I'm kind of guiding him by creating these lines here that are guiding towards the objective here. And I'm using that, even though I'm using the same assets, these ones have a different material. If I open this one, I can open my blueprint. Let's close this. You can see that these meshes, I have two materials. One is the original one, and the other one is the one I created. So if I actually want to change this, you check how different this is. I will put the original material here, and look here. Look how everything blends together. Looks nice. But with this one, it's much more clear that this is the main area. And I can make it this one even more exaggerated by actually make it darker. So you want your materials to first be very clear about it, about the colors, and then you will take a look at how you can blend them, okay? So let's go back again to our project. This one should be faster. Okay, so let's open our level, go to recent levels, test 2. Okay, we are applying the same principle here. And there is another principle that let's touch lining for a moment. So let's duplicate this one. And for now, let's just make this one higher. Let's go here, make it higher, go here, make it higher too. And we can go here, make this one higher. Not here. Okay, this one we will leave like that. And what I'm gonna do is to duplicate this one. I'm gonna put it here. And this is our roof. So let's put a proper material to this. I don't know, maybe this one. And look what happened. We don't have any light because there is no light coming from here. We only have this one because we're using emissive, but that's it. We're not using anything else. So we're gonna fix this. We're gonna go to create lights and grab a point light. And let's increase the attenuation radius. And what I want to do is to create like a blue light, something like this. Just like that. and I can create my blue light. I can put it here. And then I can move this one and move it here. And I can actually on purpose move it so that I can see a shadow here, which will make it much more interesting. Like if I were to put it like, for example, here, it's like you lose a little bit of touch there. So shadows are very important. This is what I did here because I want to see the shadow here. Everything is bright, but if I check a little shadow here, I can distinguish these elements between this part and this part. And this will actually make it look better. So what we want to do next is to make the objective stand out. The way we do this is by using complementary colors. Instead of blue, if you see this one, the complementary of this color should be around here. Okay. So if we go here and actually increase the intensity, automatically you will know that this is the main objective because these ones don't have it and this one is brighter. And even if we remove this material, we know that this part has a different color from this one. And this is a great way we can use to stand out our objective. Of course, this is a very extreme example, but just by having complementary colors, you instantly see here because you cannot help the fact that this color is the opposite of blue. So this is a very old school trick. It's being used everywhere. So this one is very, very nice thing to do. And you can actually do another thing. If you don't like blue, you can go red. And you can go red here. And now you can see how everything looks like red. Just like that. And my main objective doesn't stand out too much. Well, the complementary color of red is green. So just by doing that, you will see here easier. Okay.
You will see
Now,
Christmas
you will see Christmas.
in the air.
Yeah. So there is one more thing I need to show you. And with this, we will finish the stream. And this is unique to Unreal 5. So brace yourself. I will show you a super workflow that you can actually create your levels super fast and make them look like amazing. So let me go to let's remove this one for now. Let's go to our Christmas, to our Quicksell content. And what I'm gonna do is to grab one of these meshes here. I'm going to grab maybe this one, okay? Because we have it. It's nanite. It's great. And then I'm gonna use maybe. Let's keep taking a look at this. Okay, let's just grab another rock. Maybe this one. Okay, now we have our meshes here. Let's go to our Megascans, 3D assets, and let's check the static mesh. And here we have our two meshes. Our nanite is, I'm not sure if it's on, but let's turn on nanite. Okay, and let's say you want to create your game and just using these meshes for now, and you are doing something like this. You want to, so you have your block out and you're happy enough so that you can actually do something. Okay, so in the past we will create a blueprint here, like open level convert selection to blueprint class maybe, and if we want to update it, we could update the blueprint. Now there is a new way. Now if we want to change this, we can right click and create, check this level instance and right check this create from selection, and you will create an instance of these meshes. You will create a level and you will create a blueprint that has a level inside the blueprint. So in my case, I will create a PAX instance blueprint, and I will check my center min C, because the pivot point will be in the bounding box of these meshes in the minimum of the C axis, which should be around here. I will click OK, and I will save the map as my mass rocks, something like this. Okay, and then I will create a blueprint, BPP, and they will have the same name I had before. Now, nothing has happened. This one, it's converted into a blueprint, actually. If you see here, now I have my blueprint. And if I open the blueprint here, you will see that I have all my meshes here. It's an instance static mesh, which means this will be much more faster to render. And it has all the instances in the right location. And I don't need to move them here. So what you can do here is to actually duplicate this one, and you will create an instance of this one. Okay, there are some things you can do, and this is extremely powerful. What you can do is right click. Let's save everything. And of course, I have a super heavy mesh, so I need to save like 1 GB. Okay, so you have this. Let's just say you want to update this one. You just need to right click, edit, and just click this one. And you will see everything turns gray. And what you can do is to duplicate this one. You can even add more meshes. For example, I can have more meshes here like these ones. I can put some rock here, something like this. And I can keep modifying my blueprint. Okay, let's say this is my new asset. Look what happens to this one. I will right click and hit commit. Click here. I will save my blueprint. And look what happened to this one. This one is already updated. So now I can modify my instances in any level, and I can actually create new things. I can also go open a new level and open the level I create. And if I click Alt-3, I can see my albedo map. I cannot see the lights because I don't have any, so I will put a directional light. And what I can do is to actually move this one, rotate this one, something like this. And you can fix these mistakes. Once you're happy with it, let's just say, just for the sake of demonstration, let's just put this rock here. Just like that. So what you want, remove the directional light, save the level, and let's open our level, this one, and see that nothing has happened. And the reason is we haven't updated. We can right click and click on update packed blueprint. It will update this blueprint, save selected, and now we have all our blueprints updated. And it doesn't matter how many instances we create, all of them will be updated at once. This is a super cool feature. And you can do this with everything. Like you can create like different meshes. For example, you can create grounds like this. You can move them here. You can create something like this. And once you're happy with this, you can create a blueprint of this, update all your instances in the level. Or you can have like a setup like this where you can have your barricades. It's for your shooting game. And then you can merge them and actually have different behaviors. And all of those are instance static meshes, which means they're saving all the draw calls. Okay.
That's
So
really powerful stuff.
extremely powerful. This is the way they create the Unreal Engine 5 demo. And I was trying to put my finger in it, how they can use this. And it just happens that some days before they show this one. So if you want to know more about this, check the Unreal Engine live stream to check more technical details about these features. As far as us, we will maybe create a whole new level, and maybe we will create an open world game using this, so that you can see how you can update and actually create open worlds. Extremely easy. So that's it for me. If there is any question, let's go through them.
Yeah, yeah. This was a question that popped out when you were talking about the clarity in the level design, like putting a material for the walls and putting materials for walkable areas. It said, could it be identified by temporary color code materials at first, or is it doing the work twice?
Color material. Let me try to find the question.
Uh, like instead of using those starter content walls, it could be just a material with a color.
It's not really doing the work twice, because sure, you can start with this, but you will modify this in the future. And this is what I did in the other level I showed before. I start with one material, but it's just as long as your workflow is right. So for example, you are using this blueprint and you know that inside this blueprint you have some materials. You will change this material and all your meshes will change, all your instances. However, if you are doing it one by one, like this, and you want to change the material of this one, and then just go one by one until all of them are changed, then you're gonna have a hard time. So just try to be smart with your workflow. My advice, use blueprints as much as possible, because you don't want to modify the original. You don't want to go here and actually change this, because this will change all the instances, and you may not want that, but you can change the blueprint instance and you can change the material of those. So it's really not an issue as long as you're using blueprints. You can put the material whenever you want. But before finishing this question, color coding materials, it's extremely useful when you're prototyping your game and the art is not finished. There are some times in a production of a big game where we will be forced to put this as a solid color, just like this. Let me go to my materials. Okay, let's just put it here first, and then well, basically your meshes are like this color. All your meshes have this color, and the reason is, and different meshes will have different color. For example, these ones will have like this. Different color means different gameplay or different elements. For example, if you have a castle but you haven't finished the castle, you can put the castle orange, so that they know that, okay, this is not finished, but it's prototype, right? Color coding, it's extremely useful actually to make sure everything is clear. And don't be afraid, and at any time you can always go back to your original one.
Great. There was another question. Ah, here it is. I used Megascan door. This was transparent from one side. Why?
Well, not all megascans are closed assets. For example, if you go to this one, you go to static mesh, you will see this is a closed asset. There is no open hole here. However, if I go here, you will see that this one is open. And the reason it's open is because this asset is meant to be used in this direction. It's not meant to be used like this. And by doing this, we're saving memory in triangles. And sometimes you cannot scan the back, right? Let's say you're in the real world, you are scanning this. There's no way you get the back of this because it's just a huge mountain behind. However, there are some ways that you can fix that if you want to close your mesh. So let's go to our quick sell content. This thing is driving me crazy. Let's stop the share for a moment. Let's share again. Oh, great. Okay. So let me see if I have already something download. Okay, this one is a good example. So we can use this one. And this one, you see that here it says open. It means it has a hole here. If I go here to another asset, you will see that this is closed. So just keep this in mind. So if you want to close it, there are some ways you can do it. You can let's go to our megascans or 3D assets. And you will see here that this mesh is meant to be used like this. It's like a trim you can use in your roof or your walls so that you can use like this. Okay. So there are some ways to close this one. Let's use our modeling tools. In our modeling tools, we have the mirror. If you want, if it's a door, maybe you want to use it. So if you want to mirror this, and this can take some time because this is nanite, you can actually put different presets like right, up, down, forward, or backwards. Oops, looks like it's taking some time. Okay, and that way it's close. And you can actually move this to a place where, and now this is very slow because it's nanite, but Okay, so now you have your mesh closed. It's actually mirrored and you don't have any hole. And you can do it that way. You can accept and you can have it that way. That's fine. I will cancel this to show another method. If this is open, you can actually go here and use your hole fill. And here you can click your hole. And look what this will do is to actually close this automatically.
That's awesome.
Okay. Yeah, you don't need to go out of Unreal. Just do everything here.
Yeah.
And you can change the UVs the same method we did before by changing the materials. If you want to put a tiling concrete material, because these UVs are a little bit wrong. It has some parts like this, but it can be fixed very easy by changing the material. So just like that, we close our mesh. Now, if you have a mesh like this will be very hard to close. I don't recommend it. This is not meant to be used like that. But if you have a door or something like that, you can use this method. You can use the mirror or you can use the hole fill.
Yeah, probably the mirror because the other side of the door should have the like the shape, right? Because that
Yeah,
whole fill won't give you, it would give you a plane, I believe.
exactly. Depends on what you want.
That's great.
Yeah, I see some people saying, like, what kind of magic is this? Guys, if you want to know more about the modeling tools, we have a streaming, like 2 hours of showing all the modeling tools step by step, how you can use them to model inside Unreal, change the normal, bake objects, change UVs, model, sculpt, mirror, you name it. So go check that link. I don't know if you can share it, Ram.
Yeah, I can find it.
So, okay.
There was another question while I search for the link, and the only downside of that stream is that the frame rate is a little bad. Like this one was bad also, but not so bad. But the other one have like some spots of the video that is kind of unwatchable. So just take that in
Yeah,
consideration. Yeah.
it will make a small improvements little by little.
The other question said, "Hello guys, should we use so many megascans assets to our game? Would it be too difficult to render?"
Well, I think I can show the the recent project I shown you before, where you can see I'm going crazy with this, and the frame rate is just nice. So if I click play, ha, okay, that never happens. This is all using, except the buildings and the alien thing, this is using megascans. And if I check my frame rate, and I'm recording and streaming and everything, I'm like 40 frames per second. Not bad, as long as I'm more than 30. Feel free to go crazy with megascans. Nanite does all the hard work for you. You don't need to worry about it. Of course, you can optimize it and you can save some memory in the disk space, but okay. This is all using Nanite. All these meshes, you can see the detail here. This one is actually not using Nanite. I didn't have the Nanite version. I'll look at this. This is crazy resolution. Very crazy resolution. Like, can't believe we are making games like this now.
Yeah, yeah. There's a question. Do you think it's too early to release a game in Unreal 5, or would it be better to wait for a more stable, optimized version?
Well, if you can
Wait.
release a game in Unreal 5 right now, it means you finish it in some months. So let me know how you do that. That it, I would advise to always use Unreal 5 if your life doesn't depend on it. That's what we always tell everyone. Like, if your life doesn't depend on it, and if not like it's for a client or something, go for Unreal 5. It's not very stable at the moment. I've been using it quite extensively, especially for this project. So you will have some issues here and there, but I would say just go for Unreal 5 now. And but if your life depends on it and it's like I need this game now, the safest option is Unreal 4 now. By the time we are doing this recording, we are in early access, so keep that in mind.
Yeah, if you plan to release something this year, just use Unreal 4. You will save a lot of headaches
Yeah.
because there are a lot of weird stuff that used to work and now it works sometimes. And yeah, you just don't know. Don't take the risk. And we have more questions. And Reki said, I want to know the secrets. How to give box collider on any shape. Well, that
That's
could be
very
done
easy.
in Unreal 4 also, I believe, right?
Yeah, you can just. Uh, I'm not gonna touch this project.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Don't.
Let's go back to our project right feature. That's very easy. So if you want to put some collisions, let's say for this one, let's put a more regular shape like this one. So you can actually go to your static mesh editor and you can check the collision here by show simple collision, and you will see the collision here. If you don't want it, you can remove it and add box collision. And this will take the bounding box. So the box collision is the most simple one. I do not recommend it uh, for most cases unless it's a very square object. But yeah, that's how you do collision.
And there was one. Wait, wait. Oh, do you have ghosting from the character in Lumen?
I don't know what that means.
Like in the next frame, in the other example, I believe it was the question. Like in one frame, you have the character, and in the next one, the character is in another position, but you can see a little bit of
Uh,
the shape of the character, like left behind some ghost. Yeah, like a
I
ghost.
haven't noticed myself. but
In my
don't be
tests,
surprised if you find.
I have like sometimes it's really weird when it happens. It used to happen every time I press start, and then it fixed itself. Uh, then it stopped happening. So I really do not know what triggers it. But yeah, it's there are little artifacts that can happen with Unreal 5. Yeah, the
Yeah,
stream lag
it's basically a rendering issue.
also can induce more ghosting, but I have seen it happen in Unreal without streaming. But that's why it's an early access. So if you don't want to deal with those types of problems, you can stick to Unreal 4 for most of the things we're teaching. You can do it in Unreal 4 also. Well, except the cool new features that sometimes we feature. But yeah, I don't see any more
Yeah.
questions, so we can
No,
wrap it up
just
if
some
you'd like.
suggestions, making animations inside Unreal, probably in the future. We're just a small team of 3 people. um, but yeah, Dennis had some problems bringing assets from the marketplace to Unreal 5. We actually have a video how you can do that, and we have videos about pretty much any topic at this point. I think it's almost 200. But yeah, that's it for me. Uh, thank you. Thank you so much for being here. We will continue to do more streamings. And if this is useful to you, feel free to share it with your friends or whoever you think it needs. And if you want to know more about us, just check our website, unfgames.com, to know more about what we do. And let us know which kind of streaming you would like to watch next, which kind of topic. I already have some ideas like open world and this kind of thing. We're kind of doing like programming 1 week and then touch the art topic or level design topics another week. So next week will be programming, and let's see, probably we can do something with an open world or something like that. We will see. But in any case, we will make a poll where we will ask you what kind of game you would like us to make.
Yeah, and thanks for coming to the stream and leaving all your awesome questions. We will
Yeah,
look forward to it in the future at the same day at the same hour.
yeah. Thank you so much. And I just saw another question, like you have video production using Unreal. We don't do that because we are a channel focusing only on games. I think there are a lot of channels who focus now on movies or on production, but for us, only games. This is the channel for games. So we will touch more game design, level design topics inside Unreal. Okay, thank you guys. Thank you so much for being here. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Goodbye.